I want to give you some really valuable contact information. In case you're not aware, Alabama dealer's licenses, which are referred to as a dealer regulatory license, are issued by the Alabama Department of Revenue Motor Vehicle Division. And there on the screen, you can see their valuable contact information. The Alabama Department of Revenue Motor Vehicle Division is located at 2545 Taylor Road in Montgomery with a zip code of 36117. Here's the first number that I'm going to give you during your dealer training course. This is the main dealer license phone number. And if you have any questions before you apply for your license, or maybe you've just received your license, or if you've been a licensed Alabama motor vehicle dealer for 20 years, you can contact the Motor Vehicle Division with your questions at 334-242-2677 or drop an email to mvd@revenue.alabama.gov. Throughout the course, I will give you other contact numbers and emails that may refer to more specific questions. If you have questions such as sales tax questions or business entity questions, I strongly encourage you to use these resources. You know, you do have unlimited technical support from the Department of Revenue's Motor Vehicle Division, and I encourage you to use these resources. There really aren't many businesses that have unlimited technical support from a state agency, but this one does. So stay in contact with the DOR, that's the Department of Revenue, and I do suggest you never wing it. If you have a question, maybe about documents you're unsure of how to complete, or maybe how to report sales tax, or even if you've made a mistake, I would strongly encourage you to refer your questions to these contacts you're given throughout the course. And I want you to be aware there is no such thing as a stupid question. The only stupid question is the one that you did not ask. In the very first portion of your dealer training course, we're going to cover all the steps that you must complete in order to apply for your Alabama dealer license and run your Alabama dealership. Excuse me. Here you see the entire licensing steps, including your pre-license steps and some steps that you're going to complete after you obtain your license. We're going to cover how to complete all your pre-licensing steps. I'm going to show you how to register for an account and actually apply for your dealer license at the dealer license portal. I'm going to show you how to pay for your license and then upload your bond and insurance. Once your license is approved, you'll need to get a local privilege license. Then I'm going to show you how to become a designated agent. And then finally, I'm going to show you how to order your dealer license plates. And this is a pretty extensive list here, but it really is going to go pretty smoothly. And I'm going to cover every single important component of this process so you can get your dealer's license applied for and run your business as soon as possible. First, however, we do need to cover what are known as your pre-licensing steps. This means you need to complete these steps before you apply for your dealer license. If you skip any of these pre-licensing steps, you will not be granted an Alabama dealer license. When you complete the pre-licensing steps and apply for your license correctly, which I'm going to show you how to do, you're going to get that license back from the state, hopefully in about 5 to 7 working days. So they really issue licenses correctly as long as you've completed your pre-license steps and submit your application in the correct manner. Some of the pre-license steps we're going to go through might take just a few minutes online. Some of them are more extensive. Maybe you've already completed some pre-license steps, and that's great. But if you're starting from scratch and haven't completed any steps, I'm going to do my very best to guide you in the right direction so you can get your dealer license back from the state of Alabama as soon as possible, get your business started as soon as possible, and get you making some money as soon as possible. We're going to cover the pre-license steps extensively, which are going to include your building, your display area. I'm going to show you how to take your photographs. We've got a whole section on showing you how to get your insurance and dealer surety bond. Then I'm going to show you how to register for your employer identification number. We're going to register with the Secretary of State, get a sales tax number. You will then apply for your license, obtain your local privilege license, and then you will become a designated agent. I know that seems like a long list, but there is several steps that we do need to complete before you apply, and I'm going to give you these steps and try and expedite this process in the most efficient manner. First, let's start with your building requirements. You must have a physical location for your dealer's license. It must be a bricks and mortar building. The state of Alabama, or any other state for that matter, would never allow, say for example, a cloud-based dealer's license that would allow you to show up in the Target parking lot and sell a vehicle to a customer and disappear forever. You know, obviously no state's going to allow that. And the Department of Revenue's Motor Vehicle Division is going to require that your license is located at a business building so your customers know where you are before the sale, but more importantly, they're going to need to know where you are after the sale of that motor vehicle. So you must have a physical location for your dealer's license. It's imperative that your building is zoned for automobile sales. It is crucial that you ensure the location you're using is zoned for automobile sales. So how do you find this out? It's actually quite easy. You can call the city hall that the building is located in and ask for planning and zoning. Give them the address of the building and ask whether or not it is zoned for automobile sales. They will either say yes, you can have a dealer's license at that location, or absolutely no, you cannot because it's not zoned correctly. If you are in a rural area or outside any city limits, you can just contact your courthouse to ensure the building is zoned correctly. It is imperative that you complete this step. I've talked to potential dealers that purchased real estate to start a dealership only to have a local city or county tell them the building was not zoned for automobile sales. So make sure the building that you're using is zoned correctly before renting, buying, or starting the process on a property that you already have access to. You must have sufficient space to display one or more of your vehicles. You need a space to show at least one vehicle, and this space must be separate from any other neighboring businesses parking. You're also going to need to have a permanent business sign, and I'm going to cover the sign requirements here in just a few moments. You'll need a zoning letter if that building is in a residential area, or if it is really unclear if that area is properly zoned for automobile sales. So keep that in mind. You could get that from your zoning authority in your city hall or county courthouse if needed. There are some building restrictions I want you to be aware of, such as shared or common space with other tenants. You cannot use shared office space. So you can't, rent space by the hour or day. You can't just have a cubicle. You need basically an office with a lockable door, and the walls must go from the floor to the ceiling. If you're familiar with those temporary, virtual, or rotating office spaces such as WeWork, DaVinci, Regus, they're not allowed. Okay, so you have to have a physical bricks and mortar building with an office of your own, and you may never have more than one dealer under the same roof. The building that you are using must be identified as a dealership. The state's very clear. They require that you post a sign on your building to ensure that your customers know that you are, in fact, a licensed Alabama motor vehicle dealership. The sign must be permanent and either secured to a building or maybe like a freestanding sign that, something that's just attached to a couple little stakes in the ground or something are not acceptable. You want to make sure that you have a permanent sign that's not going to fall over. And it does have to be weather resistant, so keep that in mind. It can be on permanent poles, but you don't want to just throw it on a couple of 2x4s in the dirt where it's going to fall over a week or so later. The sign must be legible from the street or display area, and it must be 50 yards or greater. So you must be able to see that from either the lot or 50 yards, whichever is going to be greater. The state's very clear on this. You have to prove to the Department of Revenue's Motor Vehicle Division that you have power running to the building. So the state wants to ensure that your building is a comfortable environment that is conducive for conducting motor vehicle transactions. They want to ensure that you're not completing motor vehicle transactions like out in a shed or some unsafe environment like a garage next to some car on a jack or something like that. The state basically requires you to have a location that has electrical power and is a safe, conducive location to do motor vehicle transactions. So you will need to submit a proof of power. So that bill can either be in your business name or your business owner's name. If you are renting a location, then you can include a bill that has your landlord name on it. But you can also provide a full copy of the lease agreement as well. And I'm going to show you how to submit this proof here in just a little while when I show you how to physically apply for your dealer's license. You're also going to need to submit one of the following documents that you see that you can establish your location. So you need to either submit an Alabama driver's license or your current tag receipt. You can submit a copy of your pistol permit or your current Alabama tax return or your vehicle registration or your current property tax statement or a letter from the Secretary of State, and this will establish your location. You will, in order to establish that location, also have to submit photographs of the location. The Department of Revenue wants a record of what your location looks like, so you're going to need to take some photographs of your building. You're going to need to scan them on your computer, and then you're going to upload them through the online dealer license application system that's known as MVTrip, and I'm going to show you how to do that here very soon. You're going to need the following photos. You need a photo of the entire building from across the street, a photo of your sign, a photo of your posted business hours, and that's got to be weatherproof, by the way, and then also a photo of the vehicle, of the lot where your vehicles are going to be stored. In some very rare scenarios, the state will allow a dealer license at a residential home, but you must meet all zoning requirements. And by the way, that's never going to be allowed in any major city in the state of Alabama. Your zoning is not going to allow you to have commercial traffic. But if you are in, say, for example, one of the rural areas of Alabama, you may be able to meet all the requirements at your home. But if you do, you certainly must submit your zoning letter as well. Let's move on to the next training unit.